Welcome to Arcades, and as far as our opening hand goes, we've got Tropical Island, we've got Gate Creeper Vine. Do want to keep on this one. I mean, we're going to have 4 lands, but we just don't really have any sort of super great card advantage. Yeah, I think at this point, yeah, let's go and mulligan. I'm not super wild about this. So you want to have some sort of ramp. Yes, this is good. Actually, we'll make this work. We have Disenchant, we have Crossroads. That's going to give us the haste option. All right, so we're going to keep on these, and then let's go ahead and I guess put on the bottom. I should put Crossroads on the bottom. I do enjoy Crossroads. Actually, Intruder. Let's do this. Let's put Intruder Alarm down because there are some times to where with Intruder Alarm, you need a few extra combo pieces for that to combo off. But with Crossroads, there's a lot of times where, let's say you get ahead on mana, you're going to be able to just dump a quick Crossroads and swing in for a ton of damage very quickly, which is a very nice feeling. So let's go and lead off with a Temple of Mystery. Oh, and then we hit Cultivate. That's exactly what we were digging for. So let's go Temple of Mystery. Let's get a Scry going. Maybe a little Scurry, a little bit of Fever. And then Worn Power. Yes, we'll definitely put that on top. That's pretty much what we're looking to see. Is just want to get access to some really quick mana very quickly. So, and then anything else is going to pass turn to our opponent. So we're playing Arcades, Flying Vigilance. Whenever a creature with Defender enters the battlefield, draw a card. Then each creature you control with Defender assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power, and can attack as though it did not have Defender. So pretty cool. Just to stop a quick feather, do we want to go for disenchant on that? Is that something we want to do? Or yeah, I think let's just lead off with Prairie Stream and be online for Cultivate. So yeah, we can make that work. So we're playing its Feather the Redeemed. Flying, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets a creature you control, exile that card instead of putting it into your graveyard as it resolves. If you do, return it to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. And if you haven't played against Feather, it's not a lot of fun sometimes, but same thing can be said about Arcades because we get a lot of card draw. There's just so many of those Boros spells that they can, 1 mana, draw a card, then some sort of effect happens, and it's pretty good. If you haven't played against Feather, I can get going pretty quick. But as far as next turn goes, we've got Temple Garden with Cultivate. Hopefully that'll allow us to get a little bit ahead on mana and not be valued out by our Feather over there. Or at least keep our fingers crossed that that doesn't happen. So I guess at this point, let's go Wooded Foothills. That way we don't have to take too much damage. We'll crack ourselves at Wooded Foothills. And I think since we do have Temple Garden, let's grab Tropical Island. Let's go for Cultivate. That way we can get ahead on land and make sure that we have lands in our hand too. So that's going to be double blue. You know, let's just split this one kind of down the middle on utility lands. Let's grab Plains. Let's grab Island. Let's have Island enter the battlefield and Plains goes to our hand. And then anything else, pass it back over to our opponent. So next turn, we can go for Arcades. That's going to put us on going for Worn Power Stone and Wall of Blossoms the following turn. I think I kind of like that because if our opponent has removal, they've got it. If we're going to win this game, we need to get Arcades down as quickly as possible and pray to the magic gods that they don't have spot removal for Arcades, because the longer we kind of wait on this one, probably the worse it is for us. We'll see what sort of spells they may have at this point right now, but they've only got 3 cards left in the hand, and I think I kind of do like being a little aggressive with this Arcades line of play, especially if they don't cast anything. I mean, that does mean that they could be leaving up, Path and Swords mana, so if we wanted to be a little bit more protective, let's just see. We'll see what they end up casting. That's going to be Heliod. And that's and then Wall of Kelp. Okay, so at this point, that's going to be Worn Power Stone. Now, if we run into Arcades, if we run into Spot, I kind of want to be aggressive on this one. Yeah, let's go for it. If they've got spot, most of the time, this is probably not what you normally want to do with Arcades. Typically, you want to have some sort of protection. You want to have something that's going to allow you to cash in some sort of immediate value with Arcades once it's on the battlefield. But right now, we're just passing the turn with no open mana. So we're going to keep our fingers crossed that they don't have spot removal. The major reason for this is we need to get card advantage going as quickly as possible. And if our opponent has a weaker hand and we can capitalize on that, I feel better about this. So we're going to go and let this come on through. Arcades does have flying, but yeah, it's one of those. We'll let that happen. And then creatures you control have vigilance. So They're going to go for Teamer Battle Rage. So, you know, if this is something that they have, just kind of like this double strike, combat heavy hand, they've only got one more card left in the hand. Hopefully this will allow us to kind of bounce back from that. If we have to block with Arcades, we can. We're only at 9 commander damage at this point right now, so then with Teamer Battle Rage, yeah, that's going to bring back to their hand. So if this passes back over and they don't get rid of Arcades, then that is beautiful. Oh, and then Overgrown Battlement, which is pretty much exactly what we want to see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can actually do this. So let's have Plains come down. And what we can do with this is we definitely want to make sure we have Overgrown Battlement. So let's have Overgrown Battlement enter the battlefield. And actually, I think this will be better. If we have Wall of Blossoms come down, that's going to allow us to cash in a card draw. All right, look at that. We're going to get double card draw. That always feels so good. That's going to be Harbor. That's going to be Sylvan. And then Wall of Kelp. Well, actually, we can just kind of keep this chain going with the extra mana. So let's actually go Overgrown Battlement. And then we'll have Sylvan come down. That's going to be another card draw for us. This does keep us off. Well, if we end up having Overgrown Battlement stick around, that will be a lot of... Yeah, I'd rather go Wall of Kelp, because that actually gives us a better opportunity to cash in some cards. Ooh, then we've run into Wall of Stolen Identity. All right, so with this one, this is a new addition to the deck. Really excited about this one. We'll cash in that card draw with Arcades. There we go. Tundra, and then pass it to our opponent. So we do have Vigilance. We can't... Yeah, you know, with Arcades being so many combat tricks, I don't really want to lose Arcades, at least at this point right now, so we'll just go and pass the turn. So, with Wall of Stolen Identity, you may have Wall of Stolen Identity. Okay, they're just going for some Cleric tokens. With Wall of Stolen Identity, you may have it enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it's a wall in addition to its other types, and it has Defender. When you do, tap the copy creature, and it doesn't untap for as long as you control Wall of Stolen Identity. So now that we've drawn into this, this will allow us to target down Feather, and hopefully this will allow us to kind of slow roll their combat damage game plan. Ooh, Sunforger. Okay. So we do have Disenchant that will allow us to get rid of that. So hopefully we don't hit something too bad with that Sunforger, but let's see how they do this turn. All right, and it looks like they're not going to go for Sunforger because we're going to our combat step, and that feels pretty good. All right, so it's going to be Feather coming across. That we know 2 of their cards in their hand are one card is Sunforger, and we don't know what. Do we want to block with Cleric token? Kind of feels like a board wipe coming down, but we'll bite on this one. I mean, if we lose Wall of Blossom, we lose Wall of Blossom. We just lose an extra mana from Overgrown Battlement, so they'd have to get to an extra combat trick on the Cleric token. It doesn't have Indestructible, if that's right. Yeah. All right, so they're going to go for Teamer Battle Rage on Feather. No, excuse me, they're going Teamer Battle Rage on the Cleric token. It's going to have Double Strike. All right, so we're going to whittle away this Wall of Blossoms, that Cleric token. We're going to trade some real old school magic. We got a Cleric and getting eaten up by a Wall of Blossoms. And we'll see what else they go for. But if they get down Sunforger with all their mana, they don't have enough to attach it and equip, so that'll be a wonderful option for Disenchant. So, all right, so that's going to be Sunforger. I like this. They have no cards left in the hand. Teamer Battle Rage is going to go back to their hand at the end step. Yeah, there they go. So we're definitely got some good stuff that we can do. Ooh, and then we rip into Ancient Tomb. So let's go for this. Let's go for Wall of Stolen Identity. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's have a wall enter the battlefield. We're going to have it enter the battlefield as a copy of Feather, which is such a good feeling. And yeah, definitely to do that. And then we've got our own little Feather, too. And it can attack as though it didn't have it. Oh, that's a bummer. It enters the battlefield. When you do, tap the copied creature. Yeah, that should be tapped if I'm correct. So that's a little bit of a bummer. Apparently that didn't work out correctly. But what we're going to do is we're going to leave up Disenchant mana. So let's tap down Overgrown Battlement. We're going to go for Sylvan. That way we can cash in an extra card draw. Because at this point, we just want to swarm the board. We are looking at this Crossroads at some point, which will be pretty good for us. And so that's going to be Gate Creeper Vine. We'll go for one more activation with Gate Creeper. And then that's going to be another card advantage. Let's go and go for this Gate Creeper activation first. That way we can just get it out of the way. Let's grab that Simic Guild Gate. That's going to be one more card draw with Axebane Guardian. And then if we run into Intruder Alarm, that's actually... Okay, so that's going to be 18 commander damage. Yeah, I think at this point... Yeah, because we still need to leave up Disenchant off that Sunforger. Yeah, let's do that. So we're going to go and pass the turn over to our opponent. And then if they don't go for Sunforger, I doubt they're going to do that. We can still go for Disenchant. We could go for Wall of Kelp. But at least at this point next turn, we're going to be able to go for Axebane Guardian and Crossroads. That's going to be some wonderful haste. And then once they go for the equip, yeah, we'll just get rid of Guildgate and then keep us open for whatever we need to do. So, but yeah, we can go for Disenchant on Sunforger. We do want to wait for them to pay that 3 mana to go for that equip because, which, want to tax them out as much as possible. And then next turn with Crossroads, yeah, let's go for Disenchant on Sunforger. Look at that. I always like picking out old school Disenchant. I feel like this is a very arcadey style Disenchant on Sunforger. So, all right, then we're going to pop old Sunforger. It goes into the graveyard. We're basically looking at a Teamer Battle Rage, but at this point we can block with Feather on Feather. I don't know if that's a coding issue. I mean, if I'm reading this correctly, enter the battlefield as a copy of a creature, except it's a wall. And then when you do, tap the copied creature. It doesn't untap during its uncreatures. Yeah, it's supposed to tap the copied creature, which Feather was the copied creature. Maybe that's wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something, but I don't know. All right, so we are looking at Feather coming across with some extra battle damage. So I think at this point we'll just block on Feather, Feather on Feather, and that way we can force the. Just imagine this like wall version of Feather, how it just doesn't look good at all. It's kind of like an abomination of Feather. It just has like little feathers in there and a sword. All right, so we're gonna block on this one. That's gonna be 3 damage to Feather. It's gonna send that back to the command zone and send Feather back too with that double strike. I'm not really entirely sure. But either way, we got Feather back over there, which is gonna be pretty good. So we'll get rid of that Sunforger option. Oh yeah, that's the other. I forgot. We're gonna be able to deal damage with equal to its toughness. So that was a pretty good option for us. Next turn we've got 5, 8. That's gonna be 12. And then that's gonna be 17. I don't think we can one-shot our opponent, but at least we can get some pretty good damage in with Axebane Guardian because we've got some really good mana. We'll see what we draw to. Hopefully it's not another land. That's going to be very important to us. So they're going to be able to bring back Teamer Battle Rage. But the important thing is, old Feather got sent back to the command zone. Whew. Fail the mighty. All right, so let's go for Axebane Guardian. And because we have a lot of colored requirements in here, that's why I'm still tapping down Ancient Tomb. We have a lot of stuff that's either double green, double blue activation. So I'm trying to be as, then Mizium Skin. So let's do this real quick. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's going to be 6. That's going to be 9, 13, 16, 19, 21, 24. Might have miscounted, but I think that's good. We can go for a Wall of Kelp to get an extra defender to come down to maybe draw into something just a little bit better. Because we're not going to be able to close it out just yet. Yeah, let's try that. Let's give that a shot. So I'm just going to go blue, double blue. That's going to be an extra card draw. Command Tower, okay. Let's get down Command Tower because it does allow us not to just be, not just have to pay a bunch of Ancient Tomb down. Yeah, and I think at this point we'll just swing in for some pretty good damage because they're not going to be able to do much. If we get on Crossroads, it actually does help them out a lot. So if we swing in for a good chunk of damage this turn, it'll make it a little bit easier for us to swing in next turn. And then knock them down to 16. We've got Mizium Skins to kind of go for the combat trick next turn. So in fact, let's go for Worn Power Stone. And that does leave up Mizium Skins, and then anything else pass back over to our opponent. So, well, if they have a mass damage spell, so be it. But yeah, we got Mizium Skins. That's going to allow us to protect Arcades. More than likely, we're just going to see Arcades come down at this point. And so the next turn we can go for that overload ability. That's one of the cool things about Arcades is that you can run something like Mizium Skin. Is, it protects your entire board state. It's like heroic intervention in a way. But at the same time, you can use it as a pump spell. And so we'll see how our opponent wants to block. But we've got some And look at this kelp token. Oh, I love that. That's great. But we do have another thing. We can actually go infinite. So if we run into Intruder Alarm, we actually have the combo on the battlefield. That's going to be Axebane Guardian and Wall of Kelp. So I do want to explain this because with Intruder Alarm, whenever a creature enters the battlefield and untap your creatures, we can basically just add infinite mana and then get a ton of Wall of Kelp tokens and then use Crossroads to have haste. So if you ever wanted to play Splinter Twin and Bant, there you go. Wall of Kelp and Axebane Guardian is all that you need. All right, we run into Jace the Mind Sculptor. So they can block on one creature. More than likely, we're going to be able to get it on this one, but let's we're here to have some fun. Let's do a little bit of digging. All right, so let's get to be Ancient Tomb. Let's go Jace. We can actually just go for the -1. I think that would be the better option now that I think about it. We're going to go for the -1, return Feather back to our opponent's hand. And if you're Sturgill, he's excited because we're bouncing Feather back, and he's like, yeah, look at that kelp token, get ready to swing in. If you don't know, Sturgill is my dog, so about to go take him for a walk here in a second. He just woke up, and so he's excited. He went to doggy daycare yesterday, and so he's a little sleepy boy. All right, so we're going to go for Long Road Home, exile target creature. And then at the beginning of the next, all right, so we're going to be able to definitely dodge that. This is basically going to give us the option to close the game out, which is exactly what we want to happen. So let's just make sure that's going to be 4, 7, 10. That's going to be 15 right there. And so we have a lethal, even if we don't go for Mizium Skin. So let's go and push in with the entire crew. Let's go. Yeah, and we'll use Mizium Skins as a backup option. I'm pretty sure that last card is Teamer Battle Rage, but we're going to go ahead and swing in. So there we go. Swing in with the entire crew. Make sure that's going to be 4, 6. That's going to be 12, and that's going to be 16. Yeah, so we do have lethal, and then we'll leave up Mizium Skin to be a little bit of a blocker. There we go. Knock our opponent down to -3. So you can see where we had with Arcades, we've got the option with Wall of Kelp and Axebane Guardian. Let's see how far away Intruder Alarm was. Probably pretty far away. But if we could end up digging for it, but you can see where once you get established with Arcades, if they don't have an answer for Arcades, a lot of these defenders, they cost 2 mana. And so when you get down essentially a 7/7 creature with Wall of Junk for 2 mana, it's really hard to do anything about that. Oh, there we are, Intruder Alarm. So with Intruder Alarm, we'll go and explain it. So creatures don't untap during their untap steps. When a creature enters the battlefield, untap all creatures. So we have Intruder Alarm on the battlefield. We have go for a Wall of Kelp activation, create a 0/1 plant wall creature token with Defender named Kelp. Once that enters the battlefield, we go for card draw. If we have Axebane Guardian down, we tap that down for any amount of colors with Defender. So you can see where we tap down Wall of Kelp, Axebane Guardian. We're going to have the mana for Wall of Kelp. That token enters the battlefield. We untap Axebane Guardian and Wall of Kelp. And then we make another activation. And basically, we just kind of keep generating mana. Our opponent can disrupt the loop if they have some spot removal. If they don't, then it's just like Splinter Twin. We get a bunch of creatures on the battlefield, and then once we're drawing a bunch of stuff with Arcades, we can use Crossroads to give everybody haste. The other main thing is you're generating a ton of mana, and so I guess the main thing is that you can make a ton of tokens, but still at the same time, when you're generating a ton of mana, being able to dump all these creatures down, because then you get into a position where you have Stalwart Shield Bearers, where it's like another tribal effect. So anyway, Arcades, it is a very fragile deck sometimes, but when it goes off, it's one of the best feelings in the world. So if you enjoyed the video, hey, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.